Hi, I'm Jeff Gonzalez, president of Trident Concepts, and today I'm here with Brownells Daily Defense to talk to you about traveling and then staying in hotels with firearms. So again, as we see our country opening back up and people starting to travel again, there's going to be several people that are probably going to be traveling with a firearm. So if you have to stay in a hotel, here are a couple guidelines and tips that you might want to consider to help create a little bit easier experience. So the first thing I talk about is know the law. Wherever you're traveling, obviously make sure that you know the law and that you are legal to be in possession of the firearm wherever you go. The next thing is whatever hotel chain that you stay with, it may be in your best interest to double check to make sure that you're not breaking any rules or regulations that they have by keeping a firearm in your hotel room. Now, many places don't have these anymore, but again, it's your responsibility to double check. The next thing after that is what do you do when you leave your room and you leave your equipment to include your firearm in your room? What if you're going to go down to the lobby to get some ice or some snacks, or you're going to go and have lunch at the the restaurant, whatever the case might be? Granted, there's probably a good reason for you to go ahead and take your firearm with you, but what if you don't? So it's one of these things where you need to make sure that you notify through the use of the do not disturb signs that you do not want anybody to enter your room. So if you're going to leave your firearm there, number one, do not leave it in plain view. Many hotel rooms now have in-room safes, and while they are still kind of sketchy and suspect, they're better than just leaving it in a drawer or on the nightstand. So take advantage of them. The next thing is, if you're going to be out of the room for any extended periods, for instance, you're going to go to the park, you're going to go on some sort of adventure, and you're going to be coming back late at night, I would still encourage you to consider abstaining from room service or cleaning. The simple reason is that you may leave things out that could indicate that you have a firearm, and you just want to maintain kind of like a lower profile there. So it's probably in your best interest to abstain from that. When you come back in, you can always ask for fresh towels and fresh linens at that point, but kind of keep it simple there. When you're in your hotel room, you want to do the best that you can to deny unauthorized access. And that's kind of hard because you've got the entire hotel staff that has access to your room. So you just need to kind of keep that in the back of your mind that you want to do a good job there. If the room does not have an in-room safe, what do you do to try to secure your firearm? Well, if you don't travel with some sort of gun case or way of securing your firearm, that's probably the first thing that you want to do. You probably want to have some hard-sided case that you can secure to a fixed feature in the room so that you at least have the means to secure something in your room should you need to leave. The next thing that we talk about is that you're going to want to identify a safe direction within your room that you do all of the gun handling. So if you're going to attach the firearm to a holster onto your body, you're going to want to make sure that you know where a safe direction is that will cause minimal property damage and no loss of life. So the one thing that I've always tried to emphasize to people is that hotel rooms are basically just block, 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 block. Should you have a negligent discharge through the wall of a common wall that is shared with the room next door to you, that round can go through the next room, the next room, the next room, and so on and so on and so on. So just be very careful that you have identified what a safe direction is. Typically, a safe direction is going to be an external wall. The next thing we talk about is what do you do in the case of a fire or an alarm that requires an evacuation? Many of us have probably stayed in hotels for a long time. I've had a lot of stays in various hotels across the world. And believe it or not, I've been in hotels where there was fires and there was fire alarms and there was a requirement to evacuate. So what do you do? Obviously, you need to make sure that you can escape the hotel quickly and safely. So that means you need to put on some sort of clothes that you can, run with, shoes and, clothes of some sort. But then grabbing some items from your room is maybe something that you might want to consider. So I typically try to leave at least a bag ready to go in case I need to just grab it and go. And I can easily store my firearm in a holster inside of that bag, or my firearm from the gun box inside that bag as I try to leave the room. And the reason why I would do that is just so that I don't leave a firearm unattended while I have to evacuate. The next thing we talk about is how do you answer the door should somebody come to your room while you're traveling? And what I talk about is, number one, make sure that your hotel doors are secured at all times. When you're inside of the hotel, make sure that you do the best that you can to engage any locking mechanisms that you have. The second thing is, why is there a knock at your door? Did you ask for something to be delivered to your room? For instance, some extra towels, in which case, okay. Use the peep site, identify that they are hotel staff holding room towels, and then you can go ahead and open the door to allow them to offer you those towels. If there's not a reason for somebody to be knocking at your door, just be careful about who you open the door to. So have some sort of protocol about how you would open the door. Usually there is a secondary lock that allows you to crack the door to visually see what's on the other side of the door, and just make sure that you use that at all times. If you don't feel comfortable opening the door, don't. There's no reason for you to open the door. You can easily talk through the door. If there's somebody that's representing the hotel, that's an easy fix. You just get over, you get on the line, you call the hotel, you verify that there is somebody that came up to do something in your room for whatever reason. Maybe they need to repair a light fixture or some plumbing issues. Okay, fine, but verify that they are or they should be there in the first place. So these are just a couple of tips and guidelines that you can consider when you travel with firearms. I like to travel as often as I can, both for work and for pleasure. And so when I do, I have, certain little systems in place that allow me to enjoy my stay, but at the same time, be safe and responsible. So if you have questions or comments, or you have similar stories that you want to share, please feel free to post them down below. Until then, I'm Jeff Gonzalez. Take care and stay safe.